We are live with we had a podcast last week. I'm Greggles TV.
I'm
This is my,
Michael from Initial Focus,
yeah, so you can find us both. I'll link all this stuff down below.
as well as we got all the Twitters and emails and stuff for
Yeah, so
Tekbloid
what
as
we're going
well.
to talk about is Google I/O 2016. We're going to do a little recap of it. I've already done a video basically on it, but we're going to go more in depth today. And we're going to try to make this a weekly podcast every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific. And then you'll be able to watch it either later on that day if you missed it or the next day. So we'll have more info for you guys. Anyways, let's get to it. So initial focus, I'm Greggles TV. We're going to talk about Google I/O. And the first topic we're going to bring up is Google Home.
Yes,
What do you think? What did you think about Google Home?
I'm super pumped. So to anyone who follows me or watches any of my videos, they may have known that I just moved into this new apartment yesterday, and one of the biggest goals I've had is smart lights and hopefully adding security systems and really smart everything. So Google Home, I am all for. Now, is Google Home also the name of the hardware, correct?
Yeah, so it's going to be the name of that's all it is. It's the name of their new smart. I call them smart speakers because that's literally what they are. They're
Yeah.
speakers that are smart, and you can build that technology really into anything, which is awesome. And that's kind of what Amazon is doing with the Echo. And this one differs a little bit because it's based solely off the Google what do you call it, ecosystem, whereas Amazon is mostly just Amazon, but it does have some Google interactions with it. Can do some calendar stuff, which is cool. But basically, they're kind of the same thing. Have you played with the Echo yet?
I have not.
See, I have an Echo, and I use it mostly as a timer. I'll be riding my bike in my room, and I'll say, "Hey, set timer for 30 minutes," and it will do that. And that's really all I use it for. Or I'll say, "Hey, Google, play Spotify." Hey, Alexa, play Spotify, and things like that. So I don't really use it probably to its full potential because the jokes are dumb. It doesn't have the kind of knowledge base that Google has, and I think that's where Google Home is going to kick ass. Is that when you ask Google a question now, you could be like, "Hey, what's the capital of Montana? What's the who won this game? Who won?" And Amazon Echo can do some of that stuff, but otherwise it can't. And
I think
it's gonna kick butt.
just like obviously we'll talk more about this when we get to like Google Assistant and some of the other things, but being able to have conversational or having a real conversation and not just have to sound like a robot is a huge step, I think. Being able to understand context in the previous questions. I'm a person who quickly fell in love with apps like IFT, and I love creating recipes so that, if I leave my house, all the lights automatically shut off, the security system can turn on, and, you can really have many, many different things. I have it to where when I upload a YouTube video, all my lights start flashing red and going crazy. And so I think Google can really add a bunch of different kind of features kind of based on that with recipes or being able to do more than just the average timer, like you said.
Well, I know that's what I use Amazon Echo for. Is that and like I said, it can do a lot more, but sometimes it sucks because I'll ask it a question. I'm trying to think of something I can ask it. Like, it won't know who certain people are. I could be like, "Hey, who's Jeff Bridges, who's an actor," and they wouldn't most likely know it. And that sucks because Google knows everything. It has this huge knowledge base that it works off of with Google, and you can tell it to do almost anything. But for the most part, honestly, Echo versus Google Home, they can do a lot of the same stuff because Echo can control a lot of the smart home features that Google Home can. And other than that, they're basically the same. Guys, welcome to the chat. A bunch of you guys are chatting in here. Let me say hi to a couple of you guys before we continue on with this topic. Bill, welcome. Pudgy, welcome. Armando, what's up from Mexico? And Glenn wants to. Glenn's asking, won't you like the Android N features on the new NVIDIA Shield? Quick answer to that: yes, I will once it launches for sure. Um, yeah, but do you have anything you wanted to add to the Google Home or anything you liked about it that you saw?
No, I'm really just excited to see it become more open source because I remember them mentioning that right off the bat it's going to be somewhat limited in terms of compatibility with things like Philips Hue or any other brand of smart devices. So once they open it up, it's really going to be a whole new game.
For sure. So we again, we're talking about Google things that happened yesterday at Google I/O. One of the things, actually, if you don't mind if I bring this up, because this didn't happen yesterday, but it was announced today. I don't know if you saw this, Michael. Google Chrome is now going to have the Android App Store built into it. So you're going to be able to download over 1 million Android apps if you have a Chromebook laptop.
Oh yeah, I saw a little something about it. I didn't see a whole article or anything, but that's pretty incredible.
That is a game changer, man, because right now you pretty much need the internet every time you use a Chromebook. And now you're going to run into a thing where you can download apps, games on a Chromebook and run those apps. Like someone was showing a demo using Microsoft Word, and they were offline. Well, he was online, but basically that app was running locally, and he was able to edit, Word documents and Excel documents locally and save it. And he was also playing a game, and he was using the touch screen on it, and it was working perfectly. So you have this giant laptop that's just basically a Android tablet. It's awesome. It's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just a little side note I just wanted to throw in there. So yesterday, also at Google I/O, they released they are releasing this summer two new apps. The first app is Allo, and then the other one is called Duo. So yesterday, let's talk about Duo first.
Okay.
Duo is Android's version to FaceTime, which is they already have Hangouts, but this one is a little bit different. It seems a little bit more seamless, kind of like how FaceTime is.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows you to call somebody, and it's activated by a phone number. But basically, you call somebody, iOS or Android, and when you're calling somebody, when they receive that call, it shows a preview of who the person is. So you know who's calling you before you even answer. It's called knock knock basically, and it's such a interesting and cool feature. I haven't seen that on any video chat apps. Have you seen that feature at all?
I haven't seen it anywhere else, and it's definitely interesting. MKBHD uploaded a video earlier today that was talking about his Google I/O recap, and he made a good point that I'm sure there will be some awkward situations where you're in like a professional business meeting and someone's trying to entice you to pick up. So that'll be interesting. But I think for the most part, it's pretty cool. It'd be nice if something like that ever became like spam, FaceTime, whatever calling, so you could at least see who's actually behind the camera on the other side. But it'll be interesting, and I'll be very curious to see what options there are as far as turning that off as the sender or the receiver.
I agree with that. I think there'll probably be like a silent mode or do not disturb mode where that won't happen.
Yeah,
And
or how long it will ring, because that'd be kind of creepy if someone just sat there watching you but purposely didn't, pick up.
right, and I agree with that. But so we'll see.
But
We'll
it's
see
very
where it
cool.
goes. The quality wise looks really good. It looked actually better than Hangouts did. It's supposed to optimize itself.
Is it?
Yeah. We're back, guys.
Okay.
We had a little technical difficulty right there. So they didn't mention too much in terms of features that it's going to have. I don't know if it's going to have multiple people being able to talk at once, kind of like Hangouts can. But otherwise, it looks really cool. I can't wait for it. The other app is Allo, which is I wouldn't call it their answer to iMessage because to me, it's still in the vein of Hangouts. It just has built-in Google Assistant, which Google Assistant's built into everything that they talked about more or less yesterday. So it was cool. Like in the demo they were showing, it showed like a couple talking, and they were talking about, hey, what about if we have Italian? And then it instantly asked, what if do you guys want Italian food? And it gave them a restaurant location thing. So that was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, it's almost like a super love child between like iMessage, Hangouts, and Facebook Messenger. The way they've added some different things, so it will be very interesting to see how. I don't know. I'm very interested as to why they didn't cohesively put everything together into one app.
Yeah, they always do that. It's like right now, okay, so right now they have Hangouts, and Hangouts can do video chat and instant messaging and text messaging, actually. And then they have Allo, which can do, you can send pictures, messages, and videos. And then they have Duo, which can just do video. And I forget what the other app is, but they have all these apps that like do some of the stuff, or one does all of it, but it's not that great. I don't know why they do that. It's like it annoys
It's
me
almost
sometimes.
like they half finish an app and then they're like,
Yes.
well, we have a better idea, so we're just going to nix Hangouts. We're gonna really
Yes.
stop adding things
They
because
always they always do that. They do
yeah,
that a lot, actually. They'll come out like, I guarantee, like I made a video the other day on Google Spaces. I guarantee that app will be gone in a year.
I never even knew that was a thing. I saw your tweet that you had like a Spaces. I'm like, what the heck is Google Spaces? And I went into the App Store and went to Google's app list, and it's like all the way at the bottom. Yeah, it's
It's actually kind of cool, actually, in a way, because like I started my own little space, and I don't have that many people. I think it's like 10 people in it, but it gives them an opportunity to ask me questions and communicate with them. So I can see it being kind of cool in a way, because if you have a community, you can converse with them and give them information that they might not see, because maybe they don't like Twitter, or maybe they want to just talk to you directly and nobody else. I like it in that regard, but I just don't think it's in a year from now. I'll put I won't put $100, but $20, I bet you it's gone.
yeah,
Or it's
and I'm all for the thought process of, you know, you don't want to. Sometimes you don't want 10 apps into one because that would just be too much. In my opinion, that's what Facebook has become.
right.
But I think all the main features of Hangouts, Allo, Duo, and even some of their existing apps, like you mentioned, the Spaces, I could see an app where they are all one, and that would just be the king of messaging apps. If you could
Yeah.
have within one app some sort of video conferencing, or you could just have a non-video Spaces, or you have the one-on-one messaging, and then obviously with the Google Assistant built into that, like that would be an absolute unstoppable messaging
Yeah.
app.
Well, that's what I saw it posted somewhere. I think it was on Reddit today, or maybe I forget where I saw it, but someone kind of pointed out that Apple might actually have some problems in terms of competing with Google, the direction that Google's going. And I think Google, if you watched yesterday's presentation, and this leads me into this next topic, Google Assistant, they're going in a direction I think Apple's going to have a tough time. And the reason being is Google has this plethora of search data and information on people that Apple does not have.
Well, and see, that's the thing that pisses me off most is Apple could have that. They certainly have the resources for it, but they haven't dumped money or time or anything into that. Because if you think about it, I saw an article the other day about the original company who created Siri, because most people may not know Siri used to be an independent app before Apple bought them.
Right.
Um,
I had
and
it.
yeah, you download it from the iOS App Store just like anything else. And that company just started a new, and I forget the name of it, but they just
did, yeah.
started, and it's like this crazy like kind of Google-esque, Skynet type thing where it learns all. It's meant to be true artificial intelligence. And it's like there's a small company who used to make Siri who's now making this badass new thing, and I'm sure it's in like super alpha beta, like nowhere near close to consumer, but it kills me that and it's always hard to rap on Apple. Everyone knows I'm an Apple fan, but they may have some, secret Apple robot under a black blanket somewhere waiting. But I completely agree with you. They in 2 weeks or whenever WWDC is, June 12th or 13th or something, Google set the bar freaking high.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
I kind of wonder. It makes me wonder if Google's going to end up. I'm sorry, if Apple's going to end up buying a search engine or
Hopefully
creating
not
one.
Bing.
Because like if you think about it, like for instance, if Apple created a search engine or bought one, and then they made that their default search provider on Safari, I guarantee there's like at least half their audience or their customers, I should say, that do not know how to change the search provider on Safari, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I agree.
they would gain so much data and information that way.
I can see that turning into another maps dilemma though.
Yeah.
Because obviously Apple used Google Maps
this-
for years, and then they're like,
I
we'll
think
make
we're
our own
frozen.
map.
The chat frozen. It says we're still live and the health is good, but it's frozen on this screen.
That's fine. It did that last week for me.
Okay, cool.
It still shows streaming on my end.
Okay, cool. So it's just interesting to see where they could go with that. So to kind of go back to the Google Assistant, they're going to build that into everything, man, from here on out, unless it's like their other products where they just cancel it. But
I
I
doubt that.
can't see them doing that. It's just they've now created a product that will interact with you back rather than it just saying, what time do you want to do this? They actually ask you provocative questions back. So probing questions, I should say. Probing questions back that will help you get better information, maybe think about things in ways that you didn't before.
Yeah, and I think for me at least, Google Assistant is the biggest draw to Google. I know when I pull out my OnePlus One, the Google Now or Google Voice, whatever it's currently called, is going to be significantly faster and give me a better answer than Siri.
Yeah. So that is cool. So, all right. So we've, if you guys have any questions right now, you guys can ask in the chat. You can also send a tweet and hashtag it Tekbloid. That's TEKBLOID. I'm Greggles TV. This is the other guy, Michael, his initial focus. I've listed both of our pages for YouTube down below, so if you want to click on those and subscribe, feel free. Michael does awesome work. He does really, really, really good work. I can't, it's just amazing. He's got, I'm surprised he doesn't have more subscribers than he does. He just does amazing work. You guys really got to subscribe to his stuff. Very impressed with it.
Well, thanks, man. But tear up.
Well, you did pay me to say that.
Yeah. I'll send you $1 your way.
Yeah, so back that money truck up to my garage now. All right, so let's jump to another topic. Android N Preview 3. They called it Android Beta, unless I was mistakenly seeing that. But
yeah, because apparently it's the first beta, because they're now out of developer preview, is what I saw. But I could be wrong. You said you have or have played or have it on your Nexus 6P.
Yeah, man, I have it.
A Nexus device, so it's all you.
It. I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to tell I have it, but yeah, I have it. I don't know if you can see it in the screen right now, but I have it. It's not that much of a difference. I was telling you earlier that the biggest difference that I noticed was that when you get notifications, they're white, so it used to be, if I remember correctly, because I'm trying to think. Yeah, so when it would show the notification on, say on my Galaxy S7 Edge, it shows the notification for that app, and you can tell what app it is because it shows like a little icon for that app on the on Android N, it shows like just it's all white and it just looks they all kind of look the same. They don't stick the notifications don't stick out as much to me. So I'm actually kind of turned off in that regard.
Hey, it's Android. I thought you can change everything about it.
You can actually. You can download like a home screen, a different home screen, and it will give you notifications that way. But it's kind of a pain in the ass in that way. But they did take away. They had a dark mode to turn the menu systems
Yeah.
and notifications dark, and they got rid of it. And they had it last year too, and they got rid of it. I don't know why they get rid of it because it's too that white is just too damn bright.
I mean, I'm sure the dark mode, I'm sure they're just updating it. So I'm sure in the later betas.
Dude, this is Google. They had it last year on Android M and they got rid of it.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm assuming they're going to get rid of it again, unfortunately.
Maybe they'll come out with like a new like purple mode or like some other color.
Yeah, but I mean, otherwise, I mean, it's like Snapchat has never been that great for me on Android, and it actually runs a little bit worse on Android on Android N. Like sometimes I'll be in a Snapchat, which you guys, if you want to follow me on Snapchat, it's Greggles TV, same as my channel. Add me. Initial Focus is on there too. What's your Snapchat?
I have a personal one. Don't really feel like giving that one out. I have yet to get on, and I've never even Snapchatted from my personal Snapchat.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll get on there one
You're just
day.
a voyeur. Anyways, I'll be in a Snapchat sometimes and it just freezes, so I have to swipe up and hit the back button for it to close out.
Jeez.
But Android N, it's cool. You know, we'll see what they do. It's going to update a couple more times before they release the final version. I think they said they're going to release the final version at the end of the summer, so probably when the new Nexus phone comes out.
Ooh.
I know, right? Are you going to get that?
I really like Nexus phones.
Yeah.
So, well, it's going to be a toss-up between the OnePlus 3 and a Nexus phone.
Okay. Well, I don't know, man. The Nexus phone build quality, if I had to put, it will probably be a lot better than the Plus.
I don't know. Have you seen those leaked photos? We'll see.
I have, but watch, you'll get it, and the friggin' aluminum will be bent.
We'll see, man.
I'm just curious who's going to make the phone, actually, because if it ends up being HTC makes the new Nexus, we might be in for a bad camera. Because right now the camera is actually pretty good. That Huawei camera is pretty nice.
Really?
Yeah, and HTC, I know people on the HTC One phone, 10 phone, are saying that the camera is a lot better, but it's still lacking compared to S7 Edge and the Nexus. So that's the only problem with that. But I guess we'll have to find out, see what happens when that phone comes out.
Yes. All right. What's next? Daydream and VR?
Oh yeah. Tell me, you go. What do you think? Did you see? I don't remember if you saw the demo or not.
I saw a little bit of the demo, and I am all for everything becoming VR. I love VR. I think it's very, very cool that, because for a lot of people don't know, basically Daydream and the Android VR system is now going to be built into the core of Android itself. Compared to like Greg's S7 Edge, Samsung added a VR aspect to it. So Google has basically come out with a set of specs that a phone starting, I believe, later this year or next year will have to meet in order to become Daydream ready, meaning, is the screen high resolution enough for, goggles to be super close to your face? Is the processor powerful enough, GPU, all that good stuff, to see if it's able to handle VR. And if so, then you will basically, as more and more third-party developers create physical VR headsets that, not just Samsung or not just Google, you'll be able to use different headsets. And Google, I believe at the end of the summer or end of the year, is coming out with their own headset, which they demoed with a little remote, I believe, flipping pancakes. Excuse me. And that looked pretty cool. Yeah,
it did. Have you tried the Samsung VR?
Yes, that got me addicted to VR.
I want a Vive.
I want a Vive so bad, but
the HTC one. I know a lot of people keep saying that one's the best out of the the three, right? There's three. There's Oculus, Vive, and what's the other one?
Um, in the professional ones, I
Yeah,
forget. I know Oculus and Vive have always been the two compared, at least recently. And yeah, without going too far into it, the Vive, the big reason the Vive is um, the leader, so to speak, in a lot of people's eyes is because it currently is the only one that has the hand remotes. The Oculus has them in development, but they haven't released them publicly yet.
yeah,
As well as the Vive has 360-degree room coverage. So all your ducking and your whole body basically is taken into effect, as to where on the Oculus it's really mostly like head movements and then once it come out. But yeah, with the Gear VR, it was nice to have a simple, like, you don't need, because my computer, my $3,000 Mac Pro can't even handle it. Sure, yes, if I had a $3,000 custom PC, it'd be able to handle it just fine. Whatever. But it's kind of nice for the everyday person to be able to just stick their smartphone into a $99 or plus or minus a couple bucks headset and have a really good experience. The Samsung Gear VR, for what it is and for
mhm,
being like generation one of virtual reality,
yeah,
it blew me away. Yes, I could see the pixels, and I'm a pixel
yeah,
peeper. I hate seeing pixels,
yeah.
but the experience, especially like when you put headphones around it, it made it all okay in my opinion.
I agree with that. Like I think you have to hit a 4K screen for it to not probably not see pixels. Which, I mean, there's a 4K. Sony has a 4K phone, but I think to get to that 4K screen, we're probably another year, another full year out. I don't think this generation's gonna hit it. Like, I don't think the new Note 6 is gonna be a 4K screen.
No, because right now, I mean, the big setback and the big reason for companies not to have a 4K screen is battery life still.
Yeah. Well, they're not gonna. That's. I don't. They're not gonna fix that anytime soon. I think battery life is always gonna be a problem. I think the biggest thing when they get from 2K screens to 4K screens legitimately is going to be when they can make everything else in the phone smaller, all the components smaller, so that they can make the battery bigger. But battery technology is still not going anywhere fast.
Well, there's a very interesting. I remember watching a documentary on it, and it talked about how lithium-ion batteries in all of our devices and gadgets, we have, or scientists, I should say, not we. I don't know jack anything about batteries. Have literally squeezed as much power per cell out, and so now, like the past 5 years, battery technology for lithium-ion has not improved at all. It's always been about software optimization. That's why every year at these keynotes, you never hear saying, oh, the new lithium ion battery. No, they say we found a way to cut the software usage back.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you that we either need to cut space somewhere else to physically put bigger lithium ion batteries in, or some amazing person out there who will soon be a billionaire is going to come out with something besides lithium ion that just lasts a lot longer.
Right. I mean, it goes back to. I mean, when I go back to the to what Google's releasing with their dedicated VR app and eventual viewer, it's good because right now, if you think about it, the only players in the game right now are like Samsung, HTC. They're big companies, but they're not Google. They're not Apple. They're not the biggest. They're not the people that. They're not the companies that set the rules right now.
Yeah.
And Apple and Android set the rules for their respective ecosystems. And now that Google's officially in the game, we have a direction that we can go, and hopefully they stick with it and they're persistent in what direction it needs to go. Because as long as they are, they're going to bring it to where the masses can afford it, get it, love it, use it for anything they want. Because Samsung, it only works on Samsung phones. You have to have a Samsung phone. A lot of people do have Samsung phones, but a lot of people don't as well.
Yep.
So I think Google creating it is just a great thing. And the demo they have right there is really cool. And what I love about VR is that it puts you into a different world and it puts you into a different state. So you could be upset, sad, happy, mad, whatever it is. It'll whatever that world it puts you in, you're gonna get those feelings, and it's gonna change your mood, good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's going to be, to think 2 to 5 years, I think we finally have realized for the past number of years when people ask like, oh, what do you think the next big tech advancement is? What do you think this? And for the longest time, I couldn't answer that. Everyone can say flying cars and hoverboards and all that stuff. But to me, if someone asked me now, after seeing all this VR, like in the next, 2 to 5 years, what do you think the big advancement is? It's going to be virtual and augmented reality.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see where the technology goes. That's for sure.
I agree with you. I think VR is going to be huge, and it's just going to get only better. And I think everything, the way we consume media right now and play games right now, is going to completely change over the next couple of years. Like I think a lot of people thought the Nintendo Wii was going to change the way people played games, and it did for probably like 3 years. Mm-hmm. Then people got bored of it, and that's annoying because you got to stand up and flick your wrist. This one, you're actually in that environment.
Yep.
When you do VR, and I think that's going to change a lot of the way things go. And imagine you have a virtual reality gaming party, and you have 5 people over your house, and you guys are in the same room, but you're in some different. Exactly. That's what's going to be really cool. And I think that's what's going to make things go crazy. Or even online, you could play online with your friends, but you're in this alternate universe.
And they're standing right next to you.
Yeah. It's just going to be so awesome.
Endless possibilities, man.
I know. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
What up, Greg's dog on the podcast?
That's Shoko.
All right. Let's see. It looks like we got 2 more things. Android Auto, Android Wear. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see much about Android Auto. And
we'll talk about Android Auto real quick.
Okay.
What I saw about it is that you no longer need Android Auto built into your car to use Android Auto.
Okay.
Now, you're probably thinking, cool, I can use Android Audio on my touchscreen of my car now. Not true. It's basically going to be, I think it's going to be like an app on your phone that you press, and it turns your interface of your phone into Android Auto. That's all it is. So Android Auto is going to be
you
on
can mount it, basically.
Yeah, your Android Auto will be on your little 5 or 6 or 7-inch screen phone or tablet.
Okay. I mean, that's cool for the people.
It's a step in the right direction, but we need to get to a point where if your car has Android Auto or not, no matter what, whatever phone you plug into your car, it turns into that either an iOS device or an Android device. That's what we need to get to.
Yeah. Well, and I CarPlay in its last update, Apple's version of Android Auto, announced for wireless CarPlay, and I have it in my on my Pioneer App Radio 4, and I think definitely in the next 5 to 10 years, every single car that is manufactured will have both options to where, like you said, you can either physically plug in or just connect it via Bluetooth, and it will be able to just tell, oh, is it iOS or Android, and then pull up its respective Android Autos. And it's not that I don't want to talk about it or don't, think they're awesome, because it does. I do love the fact that it replaces the crappy manufacturer's software with better looking and better animated software. But it's like so simple. It's literally just your phone on the dash. So there's like not a whole lot to talk about. So I love it, but I just can't talk about it till the day's end.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I think you're right. I think you're going to be able to, just choose which one you want instead of the manufacturer having some deal with Apple or Android. Because it kind of reminds me of, and you might be a little bit too young for this, or because I don't think you had a car back then. But it used to be you either had Sirius satellite radio or XM satellite radio.
Yeah, I know that stuff.
They did,
I didn't have a car, but my parents had to make that
exactly.
decision.
So you had, when you bought a car, it was the same thing. If you bought a Honda, it came with I think it was XM, and you bought a Mercedes, it came with Sirius. So I don't think people based their car decision based off which satellite radio it had, but Maybe they did, but that's basically the same
Yeah,
thing we got going on right now. And then
I
eventually
completely
it'll
agree.
change for sure.
That's a very good input. If someone said, "Should I buy this car solely because it has CarPlay?" Answer's no. Is
Well,
it?
what's funny though is I actually was trying because we just got another car, and I was trying to find a car that I wanted that that
Yeah, it's
that
definitely
had
a feature I look for. But if a car
yeah
had 99% of what I want and the only thing it missed was CarPlay, eh.
yeah yeah, it would have been nice, but whatever. So let's finish up with the last topic. So our last topic is Android Wear, which is they're updating their software. Currently, I was looking at my watch yesterday. I was like, "What version am I on?" Because I have a Huawei smartwatch for Android, and it looks like it was on 1.4. So they're jumping from 1.4 to 2.0. And the biggest there was only really two things that I noticed, and maybe there's more, and I just didn't notice it because I was kind of working at the time when when the presentation was going on. But ultimately, the two biggest things are the way you interact with notifications, which you now can. There's a keyboard now, finally, on which you can swipe and use it. There's also smart responses. So say Michael sent me a response saying, "Hey, do you want to go to the basketball game tonight?" It would read that message and respond. I'd have smart responses based off what he said to me. Or if he said, "Hey, do you want to go to dinner?" Again, smart responses based off what he said. The other one is you can literally draw on the little watch face of what you want to say. So if you said, if someone, my wife said, "Hey, I miss you," and then I wrote back, "I love you," I can write that, and the words will type out to her and send it as a text message. So I thought that was pretty cool. Can you? I don't think you returned your Apple Watch, right?
Yes, and so I was going to compare those new features. This is probably the one time in history I can say that Apple has had all those features except for one. And to me, it was the most important, and to me, it was the most important reason why I returned or sold my Apple Watch. Um, it another thing they added for Android Wear 2.0 is watch complications, which are like on your watch face you can now use any app to add like a world clock or a stopwatch or the weather or whatever. And the one feature that is better with Android Wear, at least on the Gear S2 that I used when I tested out that Galaxy stuff, was speed. And 2.0 apparently improves speed dramatically even more, which I haven't played with yet, obviously, but I can imagine is just ridiculous because the Apple Watch is so slow.
But
Terrible.
I thought I thought the I thought the Apple Watch was slow because the apps were on the phone and then it would stream them Bluetooth wise to your watch. But then I thought they put an update out that fixed that.
Yes. And when I was working for Apple at the time, and so for months I preached like, just wait for Watch OS 2.0, just wait for it. And when Watch OS 2.0 came,
Yeah.
it was maybe slightly faster. But the whole point of a wearable tech piece, especially watch, is for me to be able to access data heck of a lot faster than pulling out my phone and updating it. And I will say 8 or 9 times out of 10, I ended up pulling my phone out. The only thing that the watch was good for was looking at notifications, but half the time your notifications, if you used your watch a lot, it wouldn't pop up on your phone. So you couldn't see new messages on your phone. And that was supposed to be a feature. That wasn't even a bug, but it never really worked. And I won't go into the WatchOS 2, but Android Wear, when I used the Gear S2, it was, as soon as I started using it, I'm like, this is how it was supposed to be.
Well, I don't know if you know this. Maybe you do. Gear S2 actually runs off Tizen, which is not the same as the Android watches.
All right, well, now I just sound like an ignore my past 5 minutes. Whatever. All right, scratch it. I quit. I'm out of
There's
tech.
a little. That's okay though. But no, I never played with the Gear S2. I had other Samsung watches, and some of them, the beginning they did run off Android, and then they
Well, if
eventually
Android
switched over.
2.0 is faster than the Gear S2, I really want to see that watch.
Well, then you know what's funny is I've had a couple of Android watches, and it has apps and stuff. You can control Spotify and Skype and order a car from Uber or Lyft. I forget which one. You can do that stuff. I don't do it because it's not as fast as just pulling my phone out and my phone can just do it. Because the phones like need probably some more RAM, a little faster processor. Because they're not. It's not like it's just a little bit too slow, you know. So
All right, then I guess
honestly,
Android Wear and Apple Watch OS or whatever needs to learn from Tizen or whoever the hell makes that.
oh, well, I don't know about that because people did test like asking questions to Tizen and Google was like way faster.
All right.
It's just I know it's probably just habit, you know, of grabbing my phone rather than my watch. But again, I use my watch more for notifications.
Yeah. And that stuff is, I mean, once you get into search and apps, it's always hard because there's so many variables from, you know, are you on AT&T? Are you on Verizon? Well, where are you? And what Wi-Fi network? I mean, network stuff is so hard. But I mean, I definitely want to test out Android Wear since apparently I've never tested it out before.
Well, all right, guys. This was our first real podcast.
Yes.
We did one last week, but we didn't post it. So this is our first real podcast.
Yep.
We'll have this podcast available on my channel, on his channel, and we're possibly going to put it on Tekbloid, which is another channel, which is basically going to be just for the podcast.
Yeah.
So we will link that description down below. We're also going to have these available most likely on
as long as
iTunes.
the audio turns out this week.
Yeah, exactly. On iTunes and other podcasting apps and things like that. So just search Tekbloid. That's Tekbloid. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the description down below on my video, his video. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He does such good work, guys. Awesome stuff. Subscribe to mine as well. Michael, do you want to add anything?
That's it. We'll keep getting better and better each week and minimize the technical problems. So yeah, if you, like Greg was saying, if you just would like to see podcasts, we have the Tekbloid channel available. We're streaming, at least starting to stream on his channel and maybe my channel at some point, just because obviously we have more of an audience there. And who knows in the future where we'll be streaming, but definitely for now we'll post it to all the platforms, so no matter where you watch him or I or both of us, you'll have access to it. So it's a lot of fun. Hopefully we have more people for next time, and don't forget to chat it up and tweet at us both in Snapchat him and not me as of currently. But yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for another week.
Yep. See you guys next week. Remember, every Thursday 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you guys down the road. Peace!